Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, all you lovely people? How are we all today? We had some woes last week. This week, we get the last minute cheer, right?
Do you know what I mean? The intro is always nicer to hear on a Monday night when it comes on the back of a win. You're right. Last minute of last week's game was like, oh my days. But this time around, it's just like absolute joy. It's so good to be here after a win. Big up to you guys in the panel and big up to everyone in the chat and following wherever you are in the world, man.
And Will, man, how are you? Not seen Will.
I'm doing good. Yeah, I only have like about an hour tonight, and then I'm going out of town again. So
wow.
Yeah, nobody's seen Will. Like this. Listen, if it's a surprise for you guys from home watching Will, it's as much a surprise. We have not seen Will. He's been super busy. So
yeah, literally. So it's for people that don't know, I do like shows, and it's literally show season. So from January to March, I've got like a show lined up like every other week, and I'm out of town for a week at a time. So you know, it's not like I'm out here doing nothing. I've just been really busy on both channels, this one and my free ones. I haven't uploaded over there in like 3 weeks. So
well, it's good to have you on tonight, guys. Stell's away. He's doing his thing. But he'll be back. I'm sure at some point this week doing his thing as well. So he won't be on tonight. But yeah, I don't know where to start.
Let's have a quick look. Let's say hello to a few people first.
Yeah,
so
let's.
From Tottenham away, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come on, folks, you know it. Big up to Alan. How you doing, Alan? Hate to say it, but Spurs have been found out. Yeah, we'll have a chat about that for sure. Big up Stale and all. Cheers, Tot Spur. Dexter.
I don't see
Dexter
Stella.
Morningstar. Oh.
I think those came before we
before
came
the
on.
show
So,
started? Okay.
yeah.
Tony Rodriguez. Big up, man. Verog. Good evening, everyone. See, this is where I like still doing this bit. Language Angels. How you doing, man?
Big up,
Sammy
guys. Big
Mehmet.
up.
As still says, big up to the boys. Tottenham away. Tottenham away. The immortal worm. Lucky. William. Farrog says lucky as well. Big up Ryan.
I want to
Cinemas
talk
in the
about
house.
this lucky stuff. I want to talk about that.
Oh, don't you worry. Baz is in the house. Cassandra. 3SS Sports Pick. Mark Cousins.
Big
How you
up,
doing,
guys.
man?
Big up,
Jamie
everyone.
Git. Mr. Mark. He's a top man. He's always with us. Spurs 72. Big up to him. Tom, how you doing, man? What's up?
Big up.
Oi, oi. And the original
Virtual
Kumar.
hugs to every single one of you.
Al Saeed, how are you, man? Rico, JJ. The woman's in the house.
Big up, big up.
Guan Donna.
Always well, Guanin.
Daniela, Nikki, Rico, whoever said hello to. James is in the house. Ratish, how you doing, man? Hope you're well. Right, where can we get cracking? Team-wise, it was pretty
Starting
much
at 11.
probably what we would have expected, right, Iggy?
Yeah. Overall, yeah. We listen. I wanted Son straight in. In all honesty, that was the one. I wasn't surprised that he didn't start the game, but I would have wanted him to start the game. Because of the things that we've been lacking through the wide areas, that final quality ball, and do you know what? Listen, Ange knows best. He put him on the second half, and guess what? You know, the one thing that Werner, I did like Werner. In the game, I thought he made really good runs. I think he's very quick. I think he's a really intelligent player. At the moment, from what I've seen from him since he's joined us, he just lacks that final ball. He lacks that final bit of quality. I mean, it's no news. It was something that we knew already when he came to Spurs. But that's the one thing Son provided. He had a big moment, Son, and he delivered on the money with that ball to Brennan Johnson in the final dying minutes of the game. So yeah, but apart from that, I was apart from Son not starting, I think everywhere else it was pretty much the team I very much expected. Yeah.
I mean, obviously having Papasar in the middle there, kind of like with his legs, we know.
Big,
Matters
yeah.
is the same, and like Bentancur, he's kind of nurturing his way back slowly, isn't he?
He's going through that you know, finding his best form. You know, yeah, he's having dips, his highs and dips, but that's pretty normal for him. Maddison himself, I don't think had the finest of games, but his importance within the teams is still very much. And look, and Sar's energy in box to box running and running off the ball.
That's key for us, isn't it?
It's incredible. It gives us another dimension having him in this midfield. It just goes to show how much importance he has within the team and how much confidence that he has from us, which he got. You know, he any player, when he has the confidence of the manager, the players, and the fans, you know, you gas yourself from that. So it's super player, lovely player to have, and it completely changed the dynamic of our midfield having him there. So absolutely welcome back to him. Our best player, I thought.
Managed to catch the game, Will?
Yeah, I've watched the game. For me, it was just the first half. I didn't agree with the starting lineup. I'm not one who thinks that people coming back from international tournaments need a week of rest. I think that's excessive. I think they should be fit. They've been playing more games than anyone else, so there shouldn't be any fitness problems. In 7 days, it should be enough to recover physically from that, unless there's nagging injuries or something like that.
Well, he came back Thursday, didn't he? He got back
Who?
Thursday.
Son?
Mm.
It was earlier than that.
I heard he flew out 2 hours after the game.
Yeah, the game
ended
was
to South Korea. So
Monday
he
or
was,
Sunday or something.
yeah,
like that.
he came in.
He was back in training, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, and he done a bit of reconditioning work and stuff like that. But look, I think it was okay to start. It would have been, but maybe it was just like where Werner had filled in. Maybe he felt like he should start him and then. But look, in the end, it was the right call. It was the right call. In the end, it proved right because Son definitely impacted the game, giving us what we needed and in the moments that we did. So in the end, it turned out to be a good call.
Came on and showed his class, didn't he? Like
the moment he came on the pitch and he with his hands, he was to the crowd and the fellow players. I think
I have to say, being there, Iggy, him warming up, suddenly you felt the stadium, like everyone was like, like when they warm up and stuff, like everyone gives them a big clap, like just as they're warming up and stuff. But you could almost feel the okay, here we go kind of thing in the stadium, because we needed picking up a bit.
It was always a matter of when he was coming on, not if he's coming on. So, but listen, the guys are saying he was lucky or we didn't play well. We only played well 27 minutes, and I don't know, man. I'm a bit. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't think with all the perhaps they had more possession than us. Maybe I had more control of the ball. Perhaps I don't honestly feel. With a couple of two exceptional saves that Vicario made, listen, they were important saves in a very important moment of the game. I don't feel that they really cost up, gave us too much trouble. What they did do well is that they came with a game plan. Welbeck putting pressure on our DM. Wouldn't let him turn on the ball, and the forwards were really up high against our defenders, making sure that Vicario didn't have any outlet, so he had to be a bit more daring with his passes. So they wouldn't let us turn. So their game plan was well. They were pushing up high, and that worked.
I actually feel Brighton played really well, Iggy. I thought Brighton played really, really well.
They do. I don't feel like they dominated for 72 minutes, though, or however.
I think they were pretty good in midfield. I also felt that they always had an outball. Like they pressed us, and at times when we beat their press, we didn't really have a pattern. But when we pressed them. And it was literally a game like that, right? And when we pressed them, if they beat our press, they always had a little triangle, a little ball to play, a little pattern that they were doing. And it seemed like they were controlling that to me.
JP,
I thought they were better. I just thought we lacked quality with the players that we had in that first half. Like I just think they were better than us in the first half. Second half was different, but
I think they had a bit more purpose in their pressing than what we did. We press, but we don't really engage with.
But the thing is, everyone has to go, don't they?
They did that.
I don't think Richarlison presses as well as Son does from the front. Like ever since Richarlison started playing striker again, have you noticed how we haven't gotten any goals from turnovers off of high pressing?
Maybe there's something in there.
But the weird thing though, Will, is he does a lot of running around, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he doesn't really he doesn't
affecting anything.
Yeah, so running at people is fine, but if they're not worried about you running at them, right? Like if we were in a bar brawl, right? And some little guy, he's 5 foot tall, 100 pounds, and he comes running at you screaming like he's gonna punch you. Would you run away? Like, would you be concerned that he's running at you? I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, stick an arm out, hold him by his head, and watch him swing at me, like they did in the old movies or whatever. There's a difference when you have Son Heung-min running at you and when you've got Richarlison running at you, right? Like in your brain, don't you think, psychologically? Because if Son gets the ball, it's in the back of the net. You know what I mean?
I listen. I just felt that our press wasn't as poignant, I think is the word I'm looking for, as say theirs was. We looked a bit shaky from the back, in especially like in possession. The midfield, yeah, I always felt the battle was going to be
Yes,
in
Mark.
midfield. But a
Several,
wide
actually.
play, both from fullbacks and wingers, wasn't quite anywhere near as effective as it normally is. So we had little problems within, especially in the first half. You guys are right. In the first half, it was definitely more noticeable. In the second, but at half time, we seemed to like sorted it out a little bit, and we came out. Um, came out.
Yeah, like a pattern happening there. Like we did
Yeah.
kind of meander out in the first half and don't really. It's like meh, nothing happens really, and then the second half, whether he gives them a rocket or something, and then suddenly they come out and play a bit better.
Listen, we went 1-0 down, so we was a little bit under the cosh, wasn't we? We lost. We went 1-0
I
down.
mean, it's a penalty. So.
A penalty for we my son was screaming like before that incident he was screaming just to hit it down the channel, hit it long. But we tried to play it
Yeah,
out,
got
and
caught,
then
didn't
and
they?
then Bentancur
Someone got
tried to
Bentancur got
dribble.
caught.
Yeah, try to go, and and then there's panic station, isn't it? When that happens and somebody's in your box. Van der Ven didn't make the
It's
right
almost
call.
like I feel for us that it's almost like a 50-50 kind of. If we get out that press, it
Yeah,
works and looks
it opens
fabulous.
up,
But
but
the
that's
gamble you take is that if they catch you, because we tend to do it quite deep,
yeah.
they're virtually onto the edge of
Well,
the
the thing
penalty.
is, JP, we had issues first with Bentancur. He couldn't really get out of that situations out in the first half. When we put Bissouma on, he found the same sort of difficulties. It's only when Maddison started to collect the ball from outside our area, it's like he was telling the goalkeeper, "Give me the ball," and he didn't care how many people he had on him. He would find a way to deal with that pressure. So it's just something that we need to work on. It's just stuff that we need to work on the field. But it was a good test. Listen,
Bentancur's normally good like that, isn't
Brighton,
he?
guys, we have to be fair and give Brighton the due
Oh,
diligence.
I think
They're
they
a
did
good
really well.
side,
I was
and
impressed with them.
you do find that when we play the top 6, 7, 8 teams, and Brighton fall into that category, it's a different level. It's a different level of match, and you'll find out who carries on doing well, who struggles with those games, compared to when we play, say, the bottom half of the table, mid to bottom. Then certain players like galvanise them, like Richarlison you mentioned earlier. Will when we do play the better teams, all of a sudden he's not very as involved. Him and maybe one or two others. So you just know that the certain players that we have in the team can do well with those mid to bottom. But then when you need that bit more quality when you're playing top 6, 7 teams, then you need to find something else, and that's where we come short. That's why we needed players like Son to come in the second half to change it up a little bit. And maybe that was the thinking behind Ange. I'm thinking the thinking behind Ange to
Knacker
reserve
them out
Son.
of it.
Yeah, to reserve Son a little bit and then to really go at them in the last 20, 25 minutes.
I mean, I guess. I mean, that could work. Look, I just think that Richarlison, regardless of the form that he's been on recently, is just not the guy that should be in that role for us right now. It's got to be.
It's just really difficult, Will, man, to drop someone that scored eight games,
easy.
Eight goals in 8
out.
games. I know. I just
write his name on the team sheet.
I just think it's harsh. I'm gonna say it, man. I know you guys are not maybe. I would find it really harsh though for somebody if he can't get a game when he's he's in the purple patch that he is right now. Maybe further ahead, for sure. You could look into that. Right in this moment, listen, maybe he feels the pressure now that the guys are back. He's like now he's a bit more worried. Who knows? I just think that
I'm gonna lose my place. I'm gonna lose my place.
Yeah. So but if someone's scoring, scored 8 in 8, you've got to give him his dues. But look, I think Son can cover either of those positions. I think he's number one choice either through the middle or on the left hand side.
I'd rather see him through the middle because if you remember from the game, especially in that first half, how many times did we work the ball into their box and Richarlison just gave it away into nothingness?
Yeah.
There was a lot of times, right? There was a lot of times that he lost the ball. Was really bad in his hold-up play yesterday, or was it yesterday? No, day before yesterday.
Yeah, Saturday.
And
I mean, his hold-up play is not great anyway, is it? In
It's improved. It's improved. It has. I have seen an improvement in that in the
Yeah.
last few games. Maybe not on Saturday, but again, the level of the opposition was better than perhaps the other teams that we've been playing. So maybe that
yeah, and when Sung,
could have.
for me, when Sung first got into that role, his wasn't that great either, but he seemed to grow into it. And the longer he was playing in that number 9 role is when you started seeing those little flick-ons, right? You like he would receive the ball with his back to goal, and he would flick it on to Madison, making an overlap, or somebody, or a Doji, or whatever. So
I was more disappointed, guys, with our wide play. Like I said, I thought the fullbacks weren't great, and I didn't think the wide players were great. So we're really having to, normally even when the wingers are not playing well, our fullbacks are really good. At this time
There was
around, I felt we was weak in those areas, and I felt the only way we can get through was through the middle. And like I said, there's only one bit of brilliance in the second half. Brennan Johnson, really, other than that goal, he too didn't have the impact that perhaps we all wanted him to have. And Son, he played 20 minutes. That he really had that. That was his moment. That moment there was won us the game. But even then, he didn't have. I felt maybe the presence alone gave us the boost. I didn't feel like he had the impact that he wanted to have.
even in the
But
stadium, man, when he walked on the pitch, did you hear the stadium
yeah,
just erupted?
yeah. Listen, his
it
presence alone.
was, as I
JP
was
was
saying, yeah,
there. JP was there.
it was unreal. And I think that the whole euphoria of the fact that, do you know what, we've got some back, it galvanized the whole place. 100%.
Listen, I think it's great that we got everybody back, with the exception of Sessegnon now and Belize. No, Belize is not.
He's
Who's
gone
the other one?
alone.
Solomon. I beg your pardon, Solomon. With the exception of Sessegnon and Solomon, we've got everybody back available, and that to me is the best news we could have with the games coming up. Especially our next 2 games are at home, Luton and Palace. It's big games coming up.
I know still kind of ran through this the other night because he did a show after the game in terms of possession, expected goals, total shots on target, and that really looks like we probably dominated the game a lot more than we did, because it really didn't look like that kind of game to me. I don't know how it felt on TV or.
So the first half didn't feel like that. And I bet if I were to pull up individually by half, you would probably see a different picture, right? The second half, it looked to me like that was the case. I can pull it up here quickly, but the first half to me looked like they pretty much controlled it. And it was the second half that we kind of turned the afterburners on.
A bit.
Then,
Yeah.
But, and I know you were talking about the wide troops and that. Like, in terms of Kulu, again, another stop-start. What was your thoughts on his game?
Listen, look, our wide players, like I said, I didn't feel that they impacted the game.
He did play an awesome ball into Papasado.
Yeah, look, Werner.
Yeah,
if you look at Werner and Kulu was a little bit better than Werner was in terms of quality, and that final ball was terrible. The whole first half, it was the thing that was letting us down. First half and mostly the game. Sorry, we was going to say something.
Yeah, no. So, like, if you look at the first half, right, the difference, they had more expected goals than us, and possession, we had a little bit more. Shots off target or shots on target were pretty much the same. They had actually one more than us. Total shots weren't that different. It was the second half when those numbers really switched, right? 0.79 to 0.25, 9 to 2. So we dominated the second half. Pretty good. Big chances. We had 2 big chances in the second half. They had 1, right? So, that for me, I think is the difference. It's just kind of a game of 2 halves, right? So the stats as a whole don't really show the whole picture. It looks like we dominated the game the whole time, but when you look at it half by half, you can see
the difference.
They kind of had the upper hand on us the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think their tactics work to a key, but that's the reason. Even if Kulu's not having a good game, you know that he can provide that key pass, that key final ball. He can. Yeah, it's
There
this
was
is
something like this because like Stell pulled this up the other day, didn't he?
yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of Kulu, the
It's
equal
insane.
most
It's
open play
crazy.
chances in Europe, which I kind of hear the thing that, oh, do you know what? Also, the fact that he's only 22 and he's still young and stuff.
No,
But
I don't.
do we
22, 23.
do we almost give him a different angle to Brennan, who's only just started?
Yeah, but you have to also look at the quality of those chances too. Like, this is the thing with like the basics, the core stats, right? Like the ones like on that graphic that you showed earlier that you get from Sky Sports or something like that. There's a difference between the core stats and the underlying stats. So the underlying stats give you the context, I guess you could say, where the core stats just give you straight numbers. So yeah, he may have created 42 chances, but what was the like expected assist value of those chances, right? Like how high of a quality of a chance was it that he created, or did he just kind of play the ball and somebody whacked it and it got blocked, right? Like what was the actual quality of those chances? Because I can't remember a whole lot of big chances that Kulusevski's created. I could go look, but this season, but it's definitely not 42, right? So that's why
that number
those
seems
types
high
of numbers.
From us, certainly for me watching him, I was quite amazed by that.
Yeah,
totally. But hey, Brennan came on. Thoughts, Iggy?
Listen,
he's only created 8 big chances this whole season. 8 out of 42 have been quality.
See, that's a
big difference. Right?
Yeah.
Not
even 50%. Right, so
he didn't have the desired the impact that perhaps we all thought he would. A couple of situations he didn't dribble the man, or one instance I remember really well. He went off he literally went off the pitch with the ball. So he was struggling to get a little bit into the game, but fundamentally, right at the end, the two subs combined, and one puts the ball right on the money, and he buries it. So he was there for the most important moment of the match for us, and sadly for Brighton, it cost them the game. So he was there. So listen, he needs to improve. He still needs to improve and improve a lot if he wants to succeed at Spurs and wants to make that place his own. He needs to up his performances to a consistent level required for our team. I'm a little bit more patient, but perhaps some of the others are, and even within ourselves in the panel. I'm a little bit more patient with our players. I want to give them their time required. I won't give them too much time, but I do believe that getting on their backs is not gonna absolutely achieve it. If they deem to be not good enough, they will be found out in due course. The same way if they are good enough, they will be found out in due course. So I believe in giving our players the time required. However, if it doesn't come into it, then we need to deal with it then. But right now, like I said, the biggest thing that we can possibly be happy about is the fact that we got everyone back, and that to me is going to be what will make all the difference in the second half of the season.
Is it also a case of because they've been injured, allowing them to get back to top speed, or that quality in their ball needs to come back? It's not just a case of, hey, they're back now and they can turn the tap on and just go for it.
Of course, they have to find their best form. But I think only by playing you can find the best form. You're not going to find that sitting on the bench. So for me, these players like Bentancur, like Maddison, Son's back, Sar's back, Bissouma's back. These guys will find their best form through playing. And I think the more they do that, the better we'll benefit from it in the long run. Even if we're not playing well, guys, ultimately, right now it's about getting the points. So there's entertaining football, and there's football that will win you games. So right now, we need to win the games, even if we're not playing well.
I think that's the point with Jimmy there. Like, I think those first 10 games we had, they all played themselves into a system, and they had a pattern, and they had a style, and everything was going hunky dory. And then suddenly it just went bang, injury,
But
bang,
they were physically. Those 10 games, nobody had any physical issues. Nobody was coming back from injuries. They were fresh. They all hit form at the same time. It's everything coming together. That's what happened to us. Perhaps that's what's probably spoiled us a little bit. Now we've got everybody that kind of like, you got those who are fit, those who are just getting back. Right? Yeah, everyone's got to get to that same level before we hit. But playing is the only way. You will find your best form. I love Bentancur. I would always have him in the team personally for my liking. Sarr, even Bissouma, that we can rotate, we can mix it up a little bit. I think all these players will all come to use, but it's just great to have everyone back. Now it's just about getting their best form.
And I think that will come back at some point. I think,
of course,
you definitely notice the levels when your Bissoumas and Sars and Madison's not there. When we have to bring in Højbjerg, we have to bring in like Skippy, we have to play Emerson at centre back, stuff like that. It disrupts the pattern, doesn't it?
Yeah. Regarding that comment by was that Polomac? Look, I respect everyone's opinion. I don't know who the YouTube creator that said that. But for me, and in my opinion, I would always, and I think I've said this many times, I would always have Son in my team. Always. Doesn't matter if it's up front or on the left-hand side. I would always have him in our first 11.
One thing I wanted to ask Iggy, I noticed was that corners against us, we had someone in between the keeper and that person trying to put Vic off.
Time, Madison, yeah. Madison was the man.
It worked.
To a degree,
right?
Yeah, because it was going to happen again, wasn't it? It was clearly a ploy.
You could see them targeting it again.
Yeah, Man City did it, then Everton did it, and I thought, we have to have. I like the players to be a little bit. Not everything has to be underlined by a manager. It'd be great when players become a little bit proactive during matches. If you see a problem there and we're struggling from it, deal with it. You have to be able to deal with it. Yes, we do zonal marking in set pieces, but sometimes you have to change things up if you are struggling from them. But this time around, it was clear that we straight away from the first corner, Madison was between the goalkeeper and their man who was trying to really dig at Vicario, and Vicario was also a little bit stronger this time around as well. He was it was coming out with a bit more purpose. He was making himself strong, even as it was happening. So it was good that we countered that, and we dealt with it.
And it was nice to see. And like I've been last few weeks speaking to Shine, speaking to you guys and stuff. It's almost like I was really frustrated that during the game, none of the players stood up and did something about it. Or even Vic himself didn't ask for some help instead of having to faff about.
It's like, JP, the problem with modern football and the footballers, like, this is where sometimes I feel that they think more like robots. It's they have to wait for the indication from the sidelines, the manager to tell you to do this, or to the other coaches to tell you to do this and to do that. You need leadership. You need to be proactive. I don't wait for a manager to tell me, for me not to identify a problem and wait for him to tell. I need to do. If he then wants something else to be done about that, that's absolutely fine. But you need to be proactive. There's an issue right there, right now. There is no time.
That whole in-game management thing, right?
Yeah, you have to.
Ownership.
You literally need to take a split decision, deal with it in that moment, and then if the manager then tells you like next time around we'll do it this way, that's fine. But you have to be. You have maybe a 5 seconds decision, to make a decision. You need to do it on a football pitch. You can't
That's
always wait to
that's
be
what
told
makes
what to do.
that's what really makes me laugh, Iggy, about watching Arsenal and Arteta. You see him screaming up and down the line. You come here, you do this, you do that.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
why are you
fine. I mean,
doing that in game, man? You go
theatrics,
through,
isn't
you
it?
go through that, with the team. Trust the
Yeah,
team out there. You don't need to give them an
yeah.
instruction every
Yeah, it's
10 seconds.
theatrics. He does that. Conte does that. There's other managers that do that. But instead, if you look at Postecoglou, he has a completely different approach about it.
I've set
He
them
don't.
up. I've told them
Yeah,
what to do in training. We've gone through the drill.
exactly. He does all of
You
that in
guys out there,
training. Then he lets them
you
go
guys
out
out there
there
deal with it.
for
Yeah.
arms crossed, whatever it is, and he's like, now I need to see that everything that I've said during the week comes out, and then I will act upon it in the times required, half times, and even in
Have
the
you
game if
learned? Have you
necessary.
learned? Have you listened? Are you doing what I
Yeah,
told you to
of
do?
course. But
So big
we'll
up
go.
Dietrich. He's back there. Dietrich. I'll let
He
you
says,
reply.
Yeah, listen, I don't know what the rest of the conversation has to do with anything that we're talking about, and it's always a little bit special when Dietrich calls other people frauds. He's the biggest fraud in here. But anyway, Kulu is a fraud. I mean, obviously he completely and utterly disagrees in regards to Kulusevski as a player. He doesn't rate him obviously by that comment. And
At
yeah,
least
so
he's
we're
strong
we're
on the
we're
ball.
we're aware who's on top of Serie A.
So
But
we'll
yeah,
move on. Thanks for your chat. Thanks for the
he
super chat,
clearly doesn't
Dietrich.
like Kulu. So I don't know, man. I still think in our squad he's still very important in our team. And even if he's not having the best game, he can always provide the goods in the final pass, and his chances created was always there. He assisted Sarr. If that is the only thing he did, then it's still worth having him in the
It was
team.
that
Unless
was
we
a
could come up with
sweet,
someone better, which we don't
that was
have in
a
the squad
sweet
right now
ball
in that
though,
position.
wasn't it? That was a sweet
Yeah,
ball. It
yeah.
just
So
cut
you
right
have to.
through those 3 defenders, I think it was. To spotted Sarr running in, perfect ball, waited and everything. And
He
even Sarr
isn't.
took it well.
He isn't your orthodox right wing. The problem I think a lot of Spurs fans are having is I don't think they see him as an orthodox right winger. He isn't. He's anything but.
Beat the man on the outside
Yeah,
and
we're
whip the
used to
ball
the
in.
Lennons and we used to like players that run at players on our wings, and I understand that, and I totally understand that. But currently, he's still the best, unless Brennan Johnson, really, um, comes. I don't think we have a better option right now. Brennan Johnson maybe further down the line, but right now he's still the best option on the right hand side to play with the likes of Maddison, Son, and whoever else in that final third.
Hi, everyone bashing Johnson, comparing him to Gill, has done more in 6 months than Gill has in 3 years, and considering we paid 20 million plus Lamela.
Listen, I
He hasn't turned out at all. But what I would say is he hasn't had as much time as Brennan Johnson, has he?
Yeah, listen, I agree. Like I said, I don't know if Brennan Johnson.
Not
I don't know
backing
if
him or
Brennan
anything like that.
Johnson. I don't know if Brennan Johnson is the answer. I don't. I know everyone. Some people, like I said, some fans online and non. Even if some, us in the chat and in the Tottenham way have made up their minds on Brennan Johnson. I'm still willing to give him a fair crack of the whip. But further down the line, we'll find out if he's that player that we hope to be. But right now, he isn't. It's straight after be the afters. He isn't right in this moment. I still think on that right hand side, Kulu is still the better option. Is Kulu the answer? I don't know. If we haven't got anyone better, certainly in the team, to play on that right hand side. So I just think we just got to just chill out a little bit. I do generally feel that there's this agendas. If it isn't Son, it's Brennan Johnson, it's Romero. There's always somebody
Someone to
in our
pick 'em.
team
Someone to pick
people
on.
pick on. Yeah, I just and that's we get that grief. We guys, we have got to understand. We take so much crap from everybody else in regards to our. I think it's our duty, our own duty, even if it's someone you don't like. If he's wearing a Spurs shirt and he's playing for us, you support them. You support them. You can be critical of them, judge them on their performance. I just don't. I don't agree with agendas. And at the moment, it seems to be in the last few years, seems to be agendas on 3 players in particular. I think there's one on Son, which has recently calmed down a little bit. Romero has been through the mill, and sometimes still does go through the mill. And now it's Brennan Johnson.
Well,
But
Richie,
then or
Richie,
Richie or Werner. There's always somebody. I just think we need to relax that a little bit.
Kudu playing below his ability, yeah, kind of like that. We know, I guess.
For sure, David, he can do a lot better. I'm not denying that. He can certainly be doing a lot better than what he is. I think he needs to be more participant throughout the game. He does drift off and on. I get it. And he can be frustrating and sometimes really predictable when he's cutting in. I totally understand that. But in the same token, he does come up with the goods. He does come up with the chance. He creates a lot of goal scoring opportunities. Whether we take them or not, it remains to be. You can see it for yourself. But he creates them. He's always involved in the thick of things, especially with chances created. And one of those chances that he created was for Sarr, which Sarr ended up concluding. So I just think we got to like just lay off him a little bit. That's all I'm saying, guys.
I think it's a case of, for me personally, Iggy, what I would say is that with Brennan Johnson, potentially you can see that there may be something there, right? I think we put our eggs. I don't know if we got it wrong. We thought he'd be able to hit the ground running, as opposed to take a while to step up from a Forest to a top 8 team, or kind of like whatever we want to call ourselves. The thing that I kind of like grates me a little bit is that I hear this, that his confidence is low and he's taking a bit of a hit and stuff like that. I just feel that he was at Forest. This is the opportunity that he wanted to come and play at a higher level, at a bigger club, whatever whatever it is. But that step up is something that he wanted. He should be literally like, because I was looking at, what's his name, Anthony Gordon, the other day. That kid, right? Not everything works out for him. I don't see him scoring more goals than Brennan Johnson. I don't see him having more assists than Brennan Johnson. But you see how effective he is, and it's that mental attitude, right? You see him almost go, I don't really care about anyone. Give me the ball. I'm gonna run at you, and I'm gonna take it on, and I'm gonna create something. He has that cockiness about him to just go, give me the ball. I'm
It's
gonna
just
run.
it's characters, though, JP. It's characters.
Right.
You got introverts, you got extroverts. Confident players, not so confident, or players that ride on confidence. You need to gas them up to get the best out of them. And then certain managers, you need to find certain players that respond to how the managers are with them. If they are, if there's somebody that gas you up and give you that can give you. There are other managers that don't say nothing to their players and just kind of like and that can have a bent. Some players don't need to be told; they know. Other players, you need to put your arm around them. Other players, you need to give a stick. So it's horses for courses for everybody. I just think, listen, and also don't forget the position that these players are playing, like the Anthony Gordons and Brennan Johnson, Werner. These are players that are playing in that final third, they play on the edge. So, and they're now meant to be creative, be it with the goals or with assisting. So when they're trying something, they will get it right, and they will make mistakes. Instead of that player that plays that 5-10 yard passes, all he does all game is play that 5-10 yard passes, and therefore my rate of percentages is very, very high, because me making that 5-10 yard passes, it's pretty straightforward. It's me doing my job, so my success rate is far higher than somebody who's more creative than me, takes players on, creates chances, assists, or tries to score goals. He's going to get more wrong than he does right.
But then you don't have a problem with that, right?
You have to let them be, because if you start giving them stick about that, they're not going to try. They may not try as much, and therefore you lose that player a little bit. The creative players are not always going to get it right, but that's the role that they play. So
I think that should have been part of our due diligence in terms of looking at someone's character and going, we shouldn't be going out and getting someone who has the mentality that the manager needs to put their arm around you, or they need 6-7 games to be able to feel loved or feel at a level that they can then perform, you know. We honestly should do. We're paying 50-60 million, whatever it is. Not saying we should get the finished article,
though, isn't it? That's
right?
the market.
Yeah, not saying we should get the finished article, but we should get someone who's confident about what we've brought him here to do.
JP, somebody that's played at Nottingham Forest, or plays with Wolves, or plays like, I see Gibbs White's names come up, or some players like Neto that play at Wolves. Nobody knows. Those players will show they are talented. You can see that they're doing really well in their respective clubs. And Brennan Johnson was doing well at Nottingham Forest. But nobody knows that when they leave that club to go to the next club that's a level up or 2 levels up, you don't know how they're going to do. You really don't. It can turn out to be a really good move or not so good. You don't know. They certainly don't put a price tag in it on themselves. So
no, that
you're right. We need to be more sure than not that guy's going to make it. Yeah, of course. That's our duty.
Signing these players, we should be looking at. All right, Brennan Johnson's fast now. How long has he taken to get to that pace? How many goals has he scored? Over how long has he scored those goals? Is it taking him like 3 years to get 10 goals or something like that? What happens to him after an injury when he comes back? Is he like scared about getting hurt again and stuff? But listen, we have him now. All I want from him is to show a bit of cockiness and just go, I'm fast. I'm going to bang the ball past you and I'm going for it. And if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't come out, you can see what he's doing, right? And there's so many times I say to the boys when I watch it or when I'm at the game, it's like, that's unlucky, but you can see what he's trying.
Listen,
as opposed to just stopping and turning them, giving the ball back because he's playing it safe.
Listen, I'm agreeing with it. Everyone has their right to say whatever they think. Stells, for example, Stells made up his mind on both Werner and Johnson. He made that's fine. He's entitled to his opinion. I'm willing to still give him a little bit more time. Certainly, if they're still there, we need to demand more. We need to always look to improve our squad. And if they're not the answer, then we need to go and find someone who has those answers. So
in true honesty, that assessment, you go, it has to be either towards the end of a window or the end of the season, right? If you've only just brought them in, you have to have some sort of assessment at the end of the season.
Of course. With Werner, we know that he's signed to the end of the season,
whatever it is. But
with Brennan, I don't think
it's an assessment to see how he coped with it.
Yeah, at the end of the season, we'll assess his situation. No, but the players like Werner, he's just coming now. He's here to the end of the season. Anything we can get from him would be a bonus. If not, thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you later. With Johnson's a different scenario. You have to evaluate his season at the end of the season and see what you want to do for it. Is he good to go and give him another season, or do we look to move on, or do we stick it out? It looks like we're going to stick it out, but we shall see. He too. Listen, at the end of the day, the only way we can evaluate a player is by what he does on the pitch. let's see. Let's see is all you can say.
That's why I said the other day in terms of like Richie, what I want from my striker, I want him to score goals.
8
I
and
want
8.
my striker
You
to
know,
put the ball in the net.
we're
Whether he
talking about
taps it in, whether he
dropping him
comes off
when
his
we've just
arse,
scored.
whenever
We're
it comes off, whatever. I want him to put the ball in the net. And so
8
far,
goals in 8 games.
he's done it 8 times. I have nothing to argue about him.
Well, we're talking about dropping him.
I don't want him to. I don't necessarily want him. On the other side, it used to frustrate me when Kane did that. Like, although he did it well, Kane used to go left, Kane used to go right, Kane would whip balls in. And the first thing I'd be saying is, but he should be in the middle waiting to receive that ball, right? Because he's our number one striker. And it's fabulous that he is doing all of that stuff. And again, I don't know if we've got to a point of being, I don't know, blessed or, you know, we had a great striker in Kane who could do it all. But how many strikers in the league that we've got now that can do all of that? Maybe hold the ball up and flick it on and run on and shoot from outside the box and curl it. And
I said, if you want a player that does it all, you need to spend the money, mate. And that's all it comes down. You want a finished article, pay. You pay, and then you get what you want. So, listen, there's arguments for everything. Conor Gallagher. I don't think Chelsea are going to part way with him. I'll be honest with you. He's a good player. I do like him, but again, another one is a bit marmite with it amongst the Spurs fans. Not everybody. Not everybody thinks Gibbs as well. I know we mentioned them earlier on. When was that one was talking about we need goal scoring wide players. If we are going to compete with the title next season, I don't know if we're ready to compete for the title next season. Certainly not with the squad that we've got right now. I don't think we've got enough there. 80 to 87 goals on average wins the league. No good having skillful tricky wings who don't score. I couldn't agree more. I think we can't just rely on the likes of Maddison and Son to score with regularity. If you have to put your money on someone right now that's going to guarantee you goals, even next season, from now, it will be Maddison and Son. Richarlison, he has purple patches. Is he going to give us the goals consistently? We can. I don't know. There you go.
I think with him though, if we look right now, we've got no case. Right now, it is a case of Richarlison is going to be that striker. If he decides to move him or whatever, fabulous. But we've got to play to his strength then, right? If it is a case of he needs the ball at his feet inside the box, then our play should be about that. Because again, the whole point for us is like scoring goals and winning games, right? I think we know, because we play with that high line, we could concede goals at any point. Because again, it's that 50-50 opportunity that we're giving folks, right? That we're giving the opposition. But we've got to do the most to be able to take the chances to score goals.
Yeah, listen. What's up, Mike? You all right?
What's up, boys?
Listen, I agree, but at the end of the day, everyone seems to have a different idea of what we should be doing. You know, some people would think we should be going for the title next season, others the top 4. Mike, I'm going to come to you, man. Like, give me your thoughts first of all, briefly, or what you saw over the weekend, and your let's say the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you like, and give me a 1 minute to summarize all of that, and then we tell us what you think about what we're speaking about now with certain players, like like the ones that are getting more than anyone else, especially our wide players and Richarlison and stuff like that. So, yeah, give me your thoughts on the match first, and then move on to this what we're talking about now.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, during the game, I had a family reunion of sorts, right? So I couldn't watch it live, but I watched the replay, right? And funny thing when you watch replays is that since you know the scoreline, you look at the game differently. You take the emotion out of it and you just look at the patterns of play. You can focus more on the game itself. I often find myself like being so focused on like the emotions and getting into the game, that I don't really notice who does what, etc. Right? So with the game on the weekend against Brighton, I honestly think, even though the stats might not say it, I think we were a bit lucky to come out of there with a win. And it's not the first time that this happened against Brighton. I think they are, even though like the names that they have in their squad, and like they sold their best players, and the guys that are playing there aren't really like well-known, established Premier League players. But what they are is like an extremely rigid in terms of like the way they play, the way they structure their press, and the way they play out of the back. And honestly, they just look experienced in what they are doing, and I think that experience showed in the first half, especially. I think so sorry, guys. I just noticed what you were writing in the chat. Sorry. I got distracted. Yeah, I think in the first half they just looked a lot more like calm and composed, and it was mainly because we gifted them that penalty, right? That penalty itself was like the culmination of a big issue that we had, which was they pressed us really, really well. Like Polish commentators like noticed it pretty much straight of the goal, right? Which was that they put Welbeck on Bentancur specifically to press him whenever he received the ball, either from Vicario or from one of the center backs. And when you look at it, the penalty came from them pressing Bentancur, him losing the ball and then working it into the box, right? And that's how Van de Ven had to make that attempt at taking the ball away, and unfortunately it didn't work out, right? So yeah, what I saw in the first half was a team that's clearly more structured and more experienced in what they are doing than us. But what I saw in the second half wasn't really like that great, right? I don't want to like come here and say that we outplayed them totally, and they had no chances and all that jazz, right? Even though I think statistically they didn't have a shot on target in the second half, which is really weird because they had that huge chance. The kid from Barcelona, or Ansu Fati. Yeah, Ansu Fati missed the chance near the post, right? But it wasn't technically a shot on target, right? So even though like the stats might say that they didn't have a shot on target in the second half, I still think what they created was really dangerous, right? So listen, I am extremely happy with the win, but I think those kind of performances are there so that we can learn something off of them, right? I understand that many of our players are tired, that they are coming back from an injury, right?
Yeah.
But what I really liked during the Saturday, and I think it's the first time since like the beginning of the season that we could do that, was we actually had substitutes that came on and impacted the game.
That was one of the best things about the weekend, was the bench actually looked, we've got a bench today.
Yes. Listen, I don't want to sound like I want to call someone out, right? But some people like sometimes criticized Ange 1 or 2 months ago for making bad substitutions, like bringing on Skip or Højbjerg when he didn't have anyone else on the bench, right? And right now he's making the substitutions, and he needs to take, for example, a DM off, and he brings on a DM, and he's getting criticized for using the wrong players. And in my mind, I'm like, so who else is he supposed to use, right? So if Son goes into the starting 11 and we substitute Werner in the 70th minute, are people going to criticize him because he's using Werner? That doesn't make much sense for me, right? So what I saw was, of course, the bench looked even way stronger than it should be, probably because we had some of the starters on the bench, actually, right? But I just really liked that we could impact the game, and that was just like felt amazing for me, because for the first time I felt like the tired legs that we had in that midfield were like just taken off, and we had fresh energy. And I know some of the players that came on aren't like good enough, right, for what we want to achieve, or I think what we want to achieve, right? But still, like fresh Højbjerg for me will be better than tired, absolutely knackered Sar, right? If Sar has no energy to run around, then I think Højbjerg will possibly, in that scenario, be better than knackered Sar, right? So, and we could do that, right? Same thing with Werner. We took Werner off, brought on Sonny. We took Kulusevski on, brought on Johnson. Even though like neither Kulusevski nor Johnson really impressed me that much during the game, I still think it's useful that we can change them, right, when we need to. So that's basically my outlook of the game. I think the longer we go into that season with the players that we have, the better it will get, in my opinion. Because as I said, many people are coming back from an injury. Many people.
Yeah, they just need to get back up to game speed and match fitness and things like that, right? And as we were saying earlier, like it's it's just a matter of them getting game time to be able to bring that level back to where it was kind of like earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Just quickly, Adrian Schrocker. Sorry, man, I blocked you by mistake. I'm trying to figure out how to unblock it. I apologize. I have noticed it. There was one of the other comments I wanted to block, but it ended up being you. So I'm going to sort that out as soon as Will comes back in. I'll get that sorted. So Adrian, if you're watching, please. I'm aware of it, and I will.
Well, it's probably not because you blocked him.
Yeah.
Well, no, but he can't. I blocked him from the comments, but he can still watch the. He can still
big
see
up,
the
Adrian. It was a
channel.
mistake, mate.
Adrian, I've spotted it, and I will sort that out. I promise you. I will speak to Will if he doesn't come back on. So, yeah.
So, sorry,
because I'll take that.
You asked me a 2-part question, but I forgot the second part.
No, the second part, basically what we was watching, like I said basically to JP, I said, it seems, before it was Son, he would take a lot of stick, and now it seems to, then it went Romero's, and I still think that there's a lot of people out there on Romero that kind of on his case a little bit. Now, that Werner, that's a terrible one. And Werner, what do we bring him for? Brennan Johnson seems to be the latest one that's absolutely Richarlison, for large parts of there's always somebody within our team that the fans have got it in for them. I don't know what it is. I like it isn't bad enough for our opposing teams that give us stick about it. I don't know. Listen, I'm sure there's other fans from other teams that do the same with their players. Maybe I just think, guys, lay off him, man. Everybody, after the game, we can criticize. Performance is the way we praise them. I think there's a balance there. But to have this hammer, the guy scored a winning goal on the weekend. The winning goal. And even then, and like I said, it's not just fans. I mean, within ourselves here in a panel, I know what's still right. So I know it is bang. So he's just as bad. Don't get me wrong. In my opinion, right? I'm sure Stel was here. He would disagree, but I can only go by what he tweets. All right, he's there bashing the drum, and I just think the guy's just scored a winning goal. Yes, his performance wasn't brilliant, but he scored the bloody winner. Kulusevski, like some guys in the chat, he didn't play well, but he assisted Sarr. So we can't always be bashing his drum against our players, and I don't understand. Like, where's your head with it?
It's like, first of all, it's always the case. Like, people just need a scapegoat. It always has been the case with us, and not only with us, other fan bases do it too, right? Even though like Man United can win the game, there will be people criticizing Rashford for the sake of criticizing Rashford, right? Even if he doesn't really play that bad, but then the next game he plays bad, and they are like, "See, I validated my criticism was right?" And the same thing with pretty much every fan base, right? Like, I don't know. It just looks like a human nature for me when the performance isn't perfect, like. Literally, you win, you dominate the game, then you just spot the cracks and you just focus on the cracks. And I think people tend to do it a lot, just focus on the bad thing instead of looking at the good thing, right? And for example, like the show after the game, I think like Dietrich was there and he was criticizing Kulusevski, and I completely agree. Like for the past couple of games, he's been really, really bad, right? Nothing like when he played against like City in December, etc., right? Like those performances were good, right? And I am all for criticizing him for the performances. And listen, Dipsik, sorry, I'm just using you as an example, like nothing personal. You know, I can use Stell with Werner or Stell with Richarlison or, you know,
Still with anyone.
Yeah, Stell with anyone, right? But I just try to be like more balanced with it. I think when I see a good performance, I will call it out, and when I see bad performance, I will call it out. But for me, bad performances don't necessarily mean we have to, like, you know, sell them. We have to, you know, get rid of them. They are absolutely trash, worthless. You know, never were good, and all that. That's just going a bit too far for me, right? I prefer to, like, you know, when the pendulum swings, I'm not going from 0 to 1. I'm just going from like 0.4 to 0.6, right? So, you know, I'm just trying to be more like, I guess you can use the word balanced in it. That doesn't mean that you aren't balanced, right? But that's just the way I see it, right? So, yeah, like, for example, with Richarlison, right? I've been completely like slagging him off for the whole previous season for his performances, and even the beginning of this season, right? I think he's been trash for that part of his career, right, with us. But what I want from my striker is scoring the bloody goals, right? And he scored 9 in 8 or whatever it is, right? I think it's like 9.
Probably 9 in 9 now.
9 in 9 now with Brighton, right? So that's 9 in 9. He's doing his job. I'm not going to like completely slack him off and you know, and say that he's been trash if he is actually scoring the goals, right? Like his overall game. And listen, again, it's not like denying the bad things that he does, right? I still think his first touch can be woeful, right? I still think he doesn't link up play that well, right? And I still think we can upgrade on him. But if he's doing his job right now in this team, I'm going to give praise for that, right? That's the way I see it. Yeah,
I think I mean, for me, I would say I agree with Still to a point on Werner, because we can only, or I can only go by his history in the Premier League, right? And what I saw, what I remember was that he missed lots of opportunities. When he went back to Leipzig, I didn't believe that he ripped trees up, and everyone was literally saying, "Oh, Kane's gone there. It's a farmers' league. You can get whatever goals, blah blah." You get double figures? No. So for me, at that point in time, I think it was wanting us to have someone else in that top 3 that can put the ball in the net. Now, across the whole of Europe, you're telling me you can't go and find a fast left-sided player who can put the ball in the net, irrespective of what league they're in and the fact that it is January. There has to be somebody out there that you can go and get, as opposed to taking a punt on getting Werner, which, unfortunately for him, the stigma behind his previous episode in the Premier League doesn't seem to be that great. At the end of the day, if somebody else signed Werner, would we all be going, "Oh my God, they signed Werner, look at that, like, what are they doing?" You know, it would be that kind of stigma that we would have towards him. So the fact that we went and got him, I get it, it's free. I get it, it's like to the end of the season and it's a free hit and all of that. But if we went out and got someone who could have got us an assist or a goal against Everton, we'd be 2 points better off. If someone else, if he could also assist, Sonny's back now, but do you know what? Throw yourself in there and say, I want to keep this spot. I'm going to go out and make a chance. I saw him cut inside. Go on, son, have a go. And it was like, I don't know, a 3-year-old had a shot or something like that. He just like rolled to the goalkeeper.
That's
this is your chance, right? This is your chance.
Same thing with Johnson, by the way. I think Johnson had like 2 or 3 attempts at goal in that game against Brighton, and there was just no venom behind the shot.
No, he lacks total belief.
Yeah.
He lacks complete and utter belief in.
That's what I mean. Why get him?
In scoring goals. No, I've tried to keep it just when I've seen him. I know that he's come with that baggage anyway, but when I've seen him at Spurs, I think he's. Do you know what it is? He's very sure of his movement. He's very sure of the position should be taken up. He's very sure of when a player like Maddison or another midfielder gets on the ball and he's looking at his direction. He's already on his bike. He's already going because he knows he's going to receive that ball. He's very, very sure in that. When you tell him to go and does that, put that final ball,
Then what? Then what?
Or the shot on goal, he just goes completely the other way. It's like he doesn't know. And I'm just thinking, it's frustrating because he does so much good and he ends it with so much bad, which almost cancels out the good that he's done leading up to that point. That's the frustrating part. But then people will say, we knew that about him. We saw it at Chelsea. We've seen him. We know that about him. And listen, and they are right. So far, he has proven that he hasn't changed in that front. I'm hoping that he does contribute to more goals. I'd like to see him at the end of some more goals, be it that he assists or scores. It would be great for us. And like I said, if we can improve him, because everything else he's doing is really good. He's really also he's a very much of a team player as well. He does help out a lot. So I love that about him. I would love to see that final part that he's missing, that final quality, which we had to bring Son to deliver for Brennan Johnson. Because without that, guys, we don't win that game, yeah? We don't win that game. We do not win that game.
That's the bit where I was saying, Iggy, is I'll back Stell. Because the more players
because I know what Stell's saying. He's
the more players like that come into the team.
Stell's saying that will cost us points. That will cost us points.
Oh, give him a chance, give him a go. Next season, it'll come good. Yada da da da. We're never going to win.
Next season, I hear him. Next season. Right
there'll
now,
there'll be another Werner.
If he's not assisting and he's not scoring, we're losing points. And if we're losing points, we don't get our target. We don't get our target. There's a domino. So why would you get somebody that you already knew that wasn't going to deliver on that? Listen, I understand that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, now that they're here, even though we knew we had our reservations, they are now here wearing a Spurs shirt. I can't bring myself to do it, like to bash them. They have to, I criticize them, like I said, the way I praise. I try to keep it balanced as much as I can, and then at the end of the season we'll draw the conclusions. But I don't feel like I can bash them whenever I see them playing. I just can't. It's just me, man. Maybe it's wrong, perhaps. I just can't do it.
But we can bash them after a game.
After the game is different. I just doing the game, man. We absolutely hammer. No. I've seen people at the game and they hammer players even while they're playing. That is for me. I can't. I just don't think you're going to get anything out of it.
After I recorded the Johnson goal that I still thought he was crap.
The thing is, you're hammering a player who's just got a winning goal for us. Listen, maybe you may want to leave it for a few hours. Straight after he scored that goal,
Iggy, in fairness, he couldn't have missed that, could he?
He couldn't, but he had to be there.
He came close. He came close.
Yeah, but he had to be there. If he didn't believe he could score that goal, if there's no belief that he can get there, or if he doesn't believe that ball is gonna go there, he knew with Son that ball will get there. He knew that would come. So
yes, so like Iggy, with what you said, like for example with Werner, right? I like if you ask me before January, I would never pick Werner as like the solution to our wing woes, right? And honestly, before we signed him, I was critical of the idea. I just thought that...
Rob. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. I was critical of the idea. I too thought that we need more of a goal scorer rather than like a runner, presser, those things that Werner does better than shooting, right? Which is pretty much everything. But But now, when he's already here, right? The club made a decision. He's already here. He will be here for the next 3 months, right? At least 3 months. If they buy him, then more, right? But for at least next 3 months, he will be here. So right now, I don't think there is a point in, like, you can criticize the board for making the decision, right? But with the player himself, he's a tool that we can use, right? So right now, I would rather focus on how we can use the guy to our benefit, right? That's how I look at things, right? So, like, the only reason he was starting the games was because we had no other left winger capable of doing what he does, right? Right now we do. We have Son, right? And that's also why I don't necessarily agree with Will, who says that he would rather drop Richarlison and play Son in the middle with Werner on the left. I think I would rather have Richarlison in the middle, assuming he keeps on scoring goals, and Son on the left, because Son is more of a goal threat than Werner, right? So if you have Richarlison who is scoring at least 1 in 2, please Richarlison at least 1 in 2, right? And you have Son on the left who is scoring, then for me that's a bigger goal threat overall than Werner and Son, right? Because Son will score more goals through the middle, but Werner won't score any, right? That's my thinking. So that's
I think-
why
You're doubling your.
I think maybe
you're
like
doubling your opportunity of
away from
scoring
home.
goals.
If you're away from home and perhaps like you're going to lose a lot of possession. Say for example we was to play Man City away and they would have most of the ball and you're going to try and get them on a counter attack. It would make sense to play Son and Werner together because you know that they're quick and they can get into the space they can attack. So I listen. I just think it all comes down to the opposition that you have and whether you're playing them at home or away. But it looks like with Ange Postecoglou, we're going to
I
play the
don't think
same
it
way.
matters, though. Yeah, I
It
don't
doesn't
think it
matter. I
matters
think
with
in
you,
this
to be
case,
honest.
I think we're just going to play the same way. So I just like the fact that we have options now. I saw the bench on the weekend. We had more options. Lo Celso was going to add to that option as well as of next week. So it's just nice to be able to look at the 11 and we can play the 11, look at the bench and think, you know what, we've got 3 or 4 players there that could all come on. So and be just as good as the players that are on the pitch. We're expanding that, and that we have to do again next year, and just keep up in the level of our squad. I think that to the maximum of our abilities.
Yes.
Vicario. Do you see him going nutty at the end?
I love it. I love it. Those guys celebrate like crazy. You know, the defenders and the goalkeepers, they celebrate. Yeah, it's insane. Like, because they kept I know we didn't keep a clean sheet. Okay, we didn't concede with the open play. I think there was one chance from Atsu Fati that could have scored. But other than that, you know, he made 2 big saves, Vicario, in a very important moment of the game. He stood tall and he was brilliant. He's a cat. He's a cat.
He's agile, isn't he? He's quite agile.
Superb. Like anything that he's there. So he's been superb for us. You know, yes, he's got the weakness, obviously corners and people, you know that. But whatever.
Although,
he's very present in every minute of the game, and I love that about him.
One thing, like quickly with the corners, right? Yes, it is a weakness, but I think it's a weakness that most keepers have. Because when you look at it, like many teams started employing that tactic. I've seen it against like Liverpool. I've seen it against a couple of other teams, right? And I just think it's just tough for a keeper to deal with it, in my opinion, right? Because like not many keepers will have the, let's even call it audacity, to just take a player and just shove him, right? Because that's a bit of a risky thing. Because like before the corner or the foul kick is committed, right? Referees often stop the game for players like, you know, shoving each other and pushing, etc. Right? I just think some keepers need to take it upon themselves to just, you know, take a player and just whack them and, you know, just shove them away, just show them that they are physically stronger, that they can use hands and they can impose themselves, right? But I don't think that's only like Vicario's issue. But yeah, like that's one thing, right? I'm going to be honest. I love the passion, right? I love when players show that they care, right? That's I think I even spoke with you guys about it, right, on your channel at the end of last season, right? I saw no passion with that team last season. I saw no emotion in them. They were losing games, and it just felt
They
like
were
they
almost robotic, weren't they?
Yeah,
They
they
were
were
quite robotic and just had to go through the
robotic.
motions.
Yeah, we scored the goal. We are happy we conceded the goal. I guess we did, right? I guess we are not fighting for anything, right? I guess we aren't building anything. I guess like some of us will leave. Like it just didn't look for me like they cared. And as much as like some other people may think that it's cringe, when I see like Poro, doing this to the crowd and them just fist
Yeah, I love
bumping.
it.
One other time when I saw Poro and Romero just chest bump each other, right? And Poro just flew off because he's like twice smaller than Romero, right? I absolutely love it because that just gives me the connection with the team, right? Because I'm emotional about the game. I can see that they are emotional about the game, right? Last season, I was just so detached that for the first time since I started supporting last season, I didn't watch some of the games because I just couldn't care, right? I just didn't care. I didn't feel the emotional connection. Whereas right now I'm making amends to watch the game. If I cannot watch the game when it's on, then I try to watch the replays, right? That's the difference.
Yeah, you see at the final whistle.
That's like why I used to love it when that season with like Delhi and Dyer, and they were doing their handshakes and stuff like that, and you saw the smile on their faces and stuff. That was enjoyable, and that was projected on the pitch at the same time in like the way they played football. They seemed like a family together. They were playing football. They were scoring goals. Everyone was playing for each other. They were all running for each other, making passes to each other and stuff like that. And it was literally like a happy family at that point in time. And whether that's coming back or not at the moment, it seems to be. It seems early yet, but
look, at the end of the day, it's great when that happens. It was a big win on Saturday, and it came right at the end. And it's great just when you see the likes of Romero, Vicario, you see it from those guys and the other players as well. It's brilliant because that's at the end of the day, man, and they've achieved a big win against a very good Brighton side. Can't knock that, but they're a good side. And
it was a game, Iggy. While I was watching that game, like even like when it was 1-1, I felt Brighton could win, and I wouldn't have been really fussed or pissed or anything like that. But I also felt we could nick it.
Yeah, there was always going to be a winner. It felt like there was going to be a winning goal. I felt that even in the game. You're right. I didn't know which way it was going to go, but that's because of the way we play. We play like we can score and we can concede as well at the same time. We'll have to see. But there's no doubt that the team is a very, very together team. The managers.
One thing I wasn't sure of, like, I don't know. Did we had an opportunity for a penalty, right? And I've not seen the game back. Obviously, it was kind of like while I was watching it live.
On Kulusevski, maybe was it? Was that the one?
There was something, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Kulu. Yeah, he could have. I think he tried to do the honourable thing and stay up. And whilst he does that, don't get a penalty.
The Kulusevski shot where he
he tried to stay on his feet, didn't he? He tried to stay up. He took the shot and weren't giving it. But if they've maybe been a bit more cute about it, more crafty, he might have got something. And some of the guys are saying that the one Van der Ven, the one that we gave away, wasn't a penalty. Guys, for me, it was a penalty. Even Van der Ven got it wrong. It happens.
It was just late, wasn't he? It was just late.
Yeah, it was a penalty, man. He couldn't. Once you contact someone in the area, it's done. So,
it was soft as hell, right? It was soft, but that's just the reality.
They've been given this year, so it's
Like I don't see a point of saying like it's not a penalty, it's a soft penalty. If it is a penalty, then it is, right? You have to accept the. Fuck's sake, Conor Gallagher scored for Chelsea.
We were just talking about that earlier on. It doesn't matter. They're not in the Champions League running anyway. It don't really matter for us. Any final thoughts before you go, guys? What do you?
So just a couple of things for me.
Yeah, we got
I wanted
Wolves.
to
Got
say.
Wolves next week. Wolves on Saturday at home again.
Wolves at the
Listen,
weekend.
we gotta make
Um,
these games count, haven't we?
One
We got
thing, one thing we noticed, Iggy, like kind of like at the ground, like we were promoting the Chinese New Year with a hoisin rice duck cake. Come and buy it here.
brilliant. We got it all covered, haven't we?
It's
We
the
got it
way
all
to cash
covered.
in, man. It's the way to cash in.
Brilliant, isn't it? But we got Wolves at home. We're gonna have Luton and is it Palace all in a short space of time. They're all home games, aren't they? Have I got it wrong?
Wolves. It's Wolves. It would have been
Palace.
Chelsea. It would have been Chelsea, but it
That's
was
Chelsea's
what
been
not.
postponed now, isn't it?
Yeah. Then it's Palace,
Palace.
and then it's Luton, I think.
We got
No.
Wolves, then Palace, then Villa away, then
Villa away.
okay, but the next two are home games, guys. Let's talk about those. I've got Wolves this Saturday. By the way, I think Wolves are going to make it very, very difficult for us. I don't think that's going to be a walk in the park. And then obviously after that we got Palace, which for me, I said if our season will be very, very much defined because we've got some tough fixtures coming up. But I did feel even Brighton at home, Wolves at home, and Palace, we had to get 9 points. Now Brighton is done. I do feel that this Saturday against Wolves is absolute key for us to get back on at home again. JP will be down there giving us all the live feed. It's an absolute must to get the 3 points. What do you guys make of Wolves? Do you fear Wolves, or do you feel like they're not going to be too much of an issue?
They're a dangerous team, and I think they've recent run of results. They've kind of held their own a little bit, haven't they? They've kind of like crept back into. I think they started the season poorly, but from what I recall, they've kind of like held their own recently against a few of the teams. Listen, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think everyone almost. I like the way we play. I like the style of play. I like the fact that we're attacking and stuff. But one thing is, it feels we always give the opposition the opportunity to come at us, and it makes them feel brave that they can come at us because the way to get to Tottenham, they're gonna fire us. They're gonna give us the block or whatever. Let's go for it. Let's go at them, and that bit I don't like so much because if it feels that any one of those teams feels that they can have a go. Now, if we end up picking them off, then I'm like fabulous. But we've not really picked off a lot of teams, I guess, recently, and we kind of need one of those. I mean, Brighton was a tough game. Like the last few games we've had, I think, kind of like the ones before, we've probably made it harder for ourselves. But as Madison said, it'd be nice to have a nice easy 3-0 win, right?
Listen, go on, Mike. Go ahead.
So like Chelsea, Wolves recently won with Chelsea at their ground, right? 4-2 it was, and then next game they lost 2-0 to Brentford, and I just feel like they are the type of team where they are like technically quite sound, and I think they are really, really physical in terms of like they run like mad, they press you a lot, then they will commit fouls when they need to, right? I think if you let them like impose themselves on the game like they did against Chelsea or like they did against us in the reverse fixture when we played at Molineux, right? I think when you allow them to like impose themselves onto you, I think they can like run away with it because they have like techie players in that front line, and when you cut off the front three, like Neto, Hwang Hee-chan, and Cunha, although Cunha I think he's injured now, right? But when you cut off Neto and Hwang Hee-chan from the game, I feel like you basically kind of like neutralize them in a sense, right? The issue is that with how we play, as you said, JP, I don't think we are the type of team to just completely like dominate the ball and just keep it away from them and not allow them to press us and all that stuff. I think it will be an end-to-end game. That's why I'm kind of like not fearing that game, but I think it will be a lot closer than I would have hoped for.
That will be dangerous against us, won't he?
Yeah, like exactly right. We will just give them chances and let's just hope that they don't convert them. That's all I can say, right? Because I know we'll create a lot. I know we'll have more of the ball. We'll be better at passing. We'll be better at dribbling, etc., etc. Right? That is just like the issue is we cannot get sucker punched in those type of games, right? They will make it tough. They will make it physical. They will press. That's how I see it, right? And listen, with Palace, because you also asked about Palace. Palace are shite. Like maybe that's more dangerous because, like the Dr. Tottenham, we don't know if it's gone or not, right? But Palace are absolutely horrible.
We'll worry about Palace further ahead. Dr. Tottenham we'll sort that out. But all right, lastly, let's go with score predictions, guys. We'll always wrap it up with a score prediction. Mike, obviously, I feel like you're going to go with a high score, given by what you just said. What are you saying? Score. What's your score prediction?
I said against Brighton that I'm feeling fancy, and I went for 4-2, and it ended up being 2-1. But I had the same feeling with Wolves, so like for the sake of it, I will go for 2-1 to Spurs. But I expect it to be more. It's just that last time I did it, it went the reverse way, so maybe it goes like that.
We need to give a team
JP,
a hammering,
what
don't
you
we,
saying?
really?
What's your score prediction, man?
We need to give a team a hammering.
I missed it. Say it again.
I say we really need to give a team a hammering.
Wolves are the team, yeah?
I always fear it could be 4-3, kind of like the way we play. But do you know what? Like, I think we were expecting goals at Brighton, and I think I said 2-1 to my friend Dom. It's kind of going to be the same.
So
I think both teams will be even, but we'll nick it again. 2-1. So I'm getting the same as Michael.
What about you, X?
2-1. I'm toying between. Yeah, I'm toying between 2-0 or 3-1. And I think we'll win by 2 clear goals. I just don't know if we got about us to keep a clean sheet because the way we play is just so crazy, right? So
we need your love done at the ground.
I mean, I love when we have clean sheets, but yeah, 2-0 maybe. 2-0. I probably like. You know what? I'm leaning more to 3-1. 3-1 Spurs. I think we'll always concede. It's just in our nature.
John Fitzpatrick, he's gone for a banger. So let's have a look at some of the people.
8-2. Come on, yeah. 2-1. You guys got in a lot of. You guys get a lot. I saw a few 2-1s there.
3-0 by James. 3-1 by Jason.
Clean sheet, yeah.
Big up, Lee.
Big up. Wolves are not.
That's got to be the winner, isn't it? 8-2, man. Come
8-2.
on.
With Son scoring all the goals. Listen, Wolves are a good side, man. They are a good side. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think we're at home. We'll have a bit too much for them, I think. But these guys they're one of them ones, isn't it? I've been to watch Wolves at home twice, and we've lost both times. So not easy, guys. Not easy.
Stay at home, Miggy.
Yeah, I'm staying well away. I'm watching them from the. I will be watching from home. I won't be at the stadium. So yeah, maybe we'll have a little bit more luck.
There you go. John's come back with a realistic one now.
Fair enough. All right, guys.
Oh, dear. All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up now. Much love to everyone. Michael, thank you for joining us. It was
big up Mike, big up Will was with us earlier on.
Fabulous. Will's back on the road. Hopefully we'll catch up with him again soon. I think Mari's doing a show midweek. There'll be another one on Thursday.
And Friday, Stel will do his show with Matt. It'll be early evening, like 5 p.m. 5 p.m. I think I did last one. I joined them. That was a really good show. So listen, guys, make sure you like the streams.
Notifications.
Make sure you activate the notification bell, because sometimes Stel or whoever, some of the guys that do like pop-up shows, they might decide that, you know what, guys, let's just do a show for an hour and we'll go on. So if you activate your notification bell, it will come up on your feed, and you'll be able to, whether you watch it live or later on, by all means do so. And I'll probably try and do a morning video tomorrow morning as well, just to recap a few things that have happened at Spurs. And plenty of content will coming your way in our channel this week, so make sure you're locked in for that. Other than that,
thank you to everyone.
Have a fantastic week, and
see you all soon. Bye now.
At the Lane versus Wolves. Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away.